Excuse me. What exactly are you doing in this building?
I am moving in. I am your new neighbor, apartment 4C.
Someone like you cannot possibly be living here. I have been in this building 12 years. I know everyone who moves in.
I am not a tenant. I am the owner. I purchased this apartment 6 weeks ago.
I'm calling the
She saw a black man carrying boxes into her building and called the police. She told the dispatcher he didn't belong there because of his skin color. What she didn't know was that the man she was reporting was about to walk into police headquarters on Monday morning as the city's new chief. Comment below what country you are watching from, because this one does not end the way Deborah Lane planned. Malcolm Rivers was 47 years old and had spent 22 years working through every rank the Houston Police Department offered. 3 weeks before moving day, he had been appointed the city's new chief of police. He would officially start Monday morning. That Saturday, he was carrying boxes into apartment 4C, which he had purchased 6 weeks earlier. He was wearing dark jeans, a gray t-shirt, and clean sneakers. He was relaxed because he was moving into his own home. On his 4th trip through the hallway, a woman near the elevator was watching him. Her name was Deborah Lane. She had lived in apartment 4A for 12 years. She watched Rivers carry a box past her. He nodded and continued. On his 5th trip, she stepped forward. Rivers told her he was moving in. Lane said, "Someone like you cannot possibly be living here." Rivers told her calmly he was the owner. He had purchased the apartment 6 weeks ago. Lane told him she was calling the police. Rivers asked if it was because he was black. Lane said yes, exactly because you were black. A black man like you does not belong here. Then she dialed. Rivers set his box down and kept moving. 8 minutes later, 2 officers arrived. Officer Sean Whitaker, 15 years on the force, and Officer Lucas Barrett, 3 years in. Lane pointed immediately at Rivers. Whitaker walks toward him with the tone of a man who had already decided. Rivers came back 30 seconds later with his deed to apartment 4C in the name of Malcolm Rivers, plus full ownership documentation, and offered them a direct number to call the building management company and confirm everything in 30 seconds. Lane called from the hallway that the documents were probably fake. Whitaker said she raised a fair point. Rivers told him they were official city and state records with seals and signatures. Whitaker said he was not calling a number off a potentially fraudulent deed. He told Rivers to come to the station. Rivers said he was not going anywhere. He had shown ownership documentation and offered a direct way to verify it. Both officers began closing the distance with the body language of men about to make an arrest. Rivers reached into his back pocket slowly, with both hands visible, and produced a leather badge wallet. He opened it and held it up. Houston Police Department, Chief of Police, Malcolm Rivers. The hallway went completely silent. Whitaker stared at the badge. The color left his face. Barrett stepped backward without realizing he had done it. Both of them had been receiving internal memos for 2 weeks about the new chief starting Monday. They had seen the name, they had seen the photograph, and they had just attempted to arrest him after he showed them his deed and offered them a verification method they refused to use. Lane called from the hallway that the documents were probably fake too. Whitaker cut her off without looking at her. Rivers closed the badge wallet and looked at both officers. "I will see both of you in my office Monday morning at 8 a.m. Then he turned to Lane. "You will be hearing from my attorney." He picked up his box, walked into apartment 4C, and closed the door. He had a move to finish. Monday morning, Rivers arrived in full chief's uniform. At 8 a.m., he called both officers in and pressed play on the 911 recording. The dispatcher asking if the man had done anything threatening. Lane's voice answering no, he had not done anything. She just did not think a black man should be living in the building. He played 30 seconds of hallway footage showing Whitaker dismissing the deed. Then he closed the laptop and suspended both officers pending Internal Affairs investigation. Internal Affairs pulled their files. Whitaker had 11 racial profiling complaints over 15 years, all closed without meaningful discipline. Barrett had 7 complaints in 3 years, 6 from minorities. Both were fired. Their combined 18 ignored complaints and the hallway footage made any appeal impossible. Even the police union declined to pursue it. Internal Affairs also reviewed 2 years of building security footage. Lane appeared in common areas 114 times watching black residents move through the building. Building records showed 19 of her 23 formal complaints over 12 years had been filed against black residents. 3 black tenants had been driven out by her sustained harassment campaigns. Rivers filed the civil lawsuit 4 days after the incident. The 911 recording leaked nationally by Friday. 40 million people heard Lane tell a dispatcher she was calling because a black man did not belong in the building and learned he was the city's new chief. The jury found in Rivers' favor on all counts and ordered Lane to pay $200,000. Her employer fired her 2 days after the verdict. The building management company terminated her lease. The apartment she had spent 12 years trying to keep black people out of was the apartment she was ordered to leave. At the press conference, Rivers stood at the podium and spoke 4 minutes without notes. He described Saturday morning, the boxes, the deed, 2 officers choosing a caller's word over his documentation. Then he said the line every headline used the next morning. I had a badge. Most people don't. The deed should have been enough. Being a human being carrying boxes into your own home should have been enough. It wasn't, and that is what we are going to fix. Drop a like if this story hit different, and tell me in the comments what you think should happen to officers who dismiss valid documentation during a lawful stop.